Hey everyone, Leslie here from Hummingbird Lane Fabrics, and I want to show you how to make the rag wreath out of the tools that you got from your Stash Buster box for July. So to just show you what a rag wreath is, I have a couple of samples. Now, these samples are much bigger than the one you got in your box. I couldn't find boxes big enough, and plus I thought that would be too much. So yours is much smaller, but I'll show you what the great thing about having the smaller ones is. So this is one of the ones I've done. You can see my nice little ring light there. This is one that I did a couple years ago. I used the De La Luna fabrics from Tulu Pink because I was going for a Halloween theme one. And then I embellished it by adding in this cool frame with a picture of the De La Luna girl to really make it kind of spooky. And then I have some black flowers and stuff like that that I add to it later on when we actually go to hang it on the door. I guess apparently I like making these for Halloween because here's my other one that I've done that is also Halloween fabrics. This one's a little skinnier in my opinion. This was the very first one I did, and I definitely learned some things from it that got me to the one that I just showed you that has a little bit more volume to it, which we'll talk about when I go through the video with you. But that is what a rag wreath is, and so let's get started and I'll show you how to make one. All right, so what you will need to make the rag wreath is your wire wreaths. Now in your box, you got 2 of them. They came in packs of 2, so that's just how they come. And what I like about these smaller ones is that you can actually use them for different decor. So you don't have to be a wreath that you hang on the door or hang on your wall or something like that. They can actually sit on a table and become a centerpiece. You could stick a big, chunky candle in the middle of it, and that would be really pretty. So there's different ways to use these and not just as a wreath. Okay, so you need your wire wreaths. You need some fabric strips. Now, jelly rolls are perfect for these wreaths just because you get a lot of fabric in a jelly roll. So if you have a jelly roll that's been kind of hanging out in your stash, now would be a good time to maybe break that out. Or you can just use simple scraps of fabric that you have laying around, maybe in a scrap bin or something like that. What you want to do is, if you are using a jelly roll, what you're going to do is you're going to cut the strips in half. So you're going to go down half lengthwise all the way down your strip. You can rip it. I myself am not a ripper because it makes me like super anxious for some reason. So I always just cut them straight down. It doesn't have to be a straight line or anything like that. It's a rag wreath. Just grab some scissors, cut down, halfway down the strip and be done with it. Don't sit there and try to cut a straight line with your rotary cutter and ruler or anything like that. Give yourself some grace to not have to be perfect in your cutting. That's what I love about this. Okay, and then you're going to take your strips. This is a little bit bigger than half, but that's okay. I just had these strips laying around and I'm going to go ahead and use it. I would also cut off the selvage edge because who wants PWTP 198 sticking out? So cut off the selvage, and then you want to take your strips and cut them in lengths no shorter than 5 inches. Anywhere from 5 to 6 is your best bet. If you go longer than 6, it's kind of gets scraggly and hanging off like crazy, and it just looks kind of weird. So anywhere from 5 to 6, I'm going to do about 5-ish, and then just cut a whole bunch of them. I'm going to cut a couple different ones because I just want to show you how to do it. So there's another one. You can measure out the 5 if you're like super anxious about, oops, I did a selvage edge one. Let's do that one over. Okay, I'll grab a couple more, cut that selvage off, and then cut some strips, one more. Let's do one more for good measure. About there. Okay, so that's just to show you for a couple of them. Now once you have all these little 5 or 6 inch strips that you're using, you then want to start tying them onto your wreath. Now there's no rhyme or reason about where to start. You just start where you want to start. So I'm just going to do one at a time, obviously. Now there's 2 different ways to tie your strip on. And I always like to fold it in half, because if you do it this way and go to tie it, I don't know, it just doesn't look right to me. It starts to get kind of weird. you lose some of the fabric and it could tie where all you see is the back side of it. So I personally like to, if I can get it back off again, tied it tight. Hiya, come on. Okay. I personally like to fold it in half this way and then tie it. That way it kind of ensures that you get the majority of the actual print. Do you see how now the difference in tying that? You can actually see the print and not the back side of it. So that's why I like to fold it in half. Now that's one way to tie it, where you simply just loop it through, tie it in a knot, or if your strips are a little skinnier than this, you could also do it. These might be too chunky. Here, you know what? I'm gonna cut it, make it smaller to show you. Okay. So if your strips are a little bit skinnier, you can actually try the loop method. So you're just gonna loop it. So take it, fold it in half. It'll work if you have a 6-inch strip and not a 5 too. And then open the hole and then pull the ends through this side so that they stick up like that. So the nice thing, so as you can see from the differences, this one lays flat quite a bit, but I like that you can see the print a little bit better. And this one, if you can see, it sticks up nice and straight. So it kind of depends what the look is that you're going for. If you want it sticking straight out and be super fluffy with lots of volume, definitely do the loop method, which I will do for you one more time. Hopefully you can see it okay. I'll try to get it closer to the camera. So you take your strip of fabric, fold it in half, and then you're going to take your loop side and put it through the wire like that. You're going to kind of stick your finger, it's hard to hold it and do this, but you're going to take these ends of the fabric and put it through the loop and grab it and pull it through. Okay, hopefully you can see that okay. That's basically how you're going to tie it that way. So it sticks up better, gets a little more, you know, jazzy that way, as opposed to this one that kind of lays kind of flat. However, even though this lays flat, I will show you on the previous ones I did, because this one, I tied it this way. I tied it just tie it in a knot way, because this is a little bit easier. It's a little bit faster when you just want to quickly get it done. This is definitely the easier way. But as you're going through and you're adding more and more to it, and you start to squish them up next to each other, it starts to pop up. So as you put another one here, it's going to pop up. So they're going to kind of support each other as you go and get it, you know, sticking up more so you get more of that volume. That's exactly how I did this one. They were all just knotted on here, nothing fancy. See, it's just a straight little knot, but then I've got a ton of them on here. See, there's one just like right after the next. I just really, really squished them on here to really get that. I mean, it's a little flat from sitting on a shelf with other things on top of it, but you just kind of fluff it and it gets a little more pizzazzy again. But definitely sticking the other ones on there helped kind of stick it straight back up again. So that's one thing to note, is that even if this looks like it's laying flat, once you start putting other ones next to it, it starts to kind of stick up. And then it's kind of nice in this front row to have it like that too, because then it can kind of lay in the row as well, as opposed to sticking straight up like this. So unless you're planning on putting something in the center, you know, it's kind of nice to have this, because then it fills in the empty space there. I'll show you on the first one I did. If you look at the back, there's a lot of places where I did start to scoot everything together, and then spots where I didn't, which is why there's like, see this big gap here, and there's another gap over here. It's very loosey-goosey, like you can move it around. Look at that gap if I start moving it around. So I definitely got lazy on this one and did not fill it in as much as I should have. which is why on my next one I did do quite a bit more and definitely squeezed it in and filled it as much as possible. So, all right, let's tie a couple more. So I've got my next one, and you can put them anywhere you want. Like you can start, maybe you've got too much pink here, so you wouldn't put another pink there. You'd put the pink over here or wherever you want them to be. And just kind of start randomly putting them wherever you want. And it's kind of, you know, just your own thing, however you want it to look. So again, I take my strip, fold it in half lengthwise, and then just loop one end through the wire so that it's, the wire's in between it, and then just tie a little knot. Voila, and just keep going until your whole thing is filled all the way through with all of your little scraps of strips. And then you can do your second one, you can make it match, you can have it be something totally different. You can go themed with like a Halloween thing or Christmas or Thanksgiving or fall or whatever it is, or just do something that matches your house. It's totally up to you. This is just a really great way to go through your strips, and because there's no sewing involved, you can sit on your couch and just tie knots away. All right, I hope that is helpful. I hope you enjoy this little project, and please, 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 when you finish it, send me pictures because I want to see. I want to see what you guys create with your beautiful stash, and I look forward to talking to you all soon or seeing you soon. Thanks. Bye.